Welcome back to All Things Creepy. I'm your host, Micah James. And this week might be a slightly shorter episode yet again, but it's an actual episode and not a bonus episode. I am bringing you some more urban legends. This is just a topic that I'm just super into, obviously, because I have more than one episode about urban legends, and I will probably continue covering urban legends until I can't find any more to cover. So this week I am covering 10 of them. I did my best not to overlap any from previous episodes, but my apologies if there is crossover. All my sources, like usual, are going to be in the show notes. If there are any urban legends that I haven't covered yet, in general, not just in this episode, please let me know and I would love to cover them. So for this episode, we are starting off with a ritual legend, I guess you could call it, and it's called the bath game. This urban legend originated in Japan and is a ritual that you play that invites a spirit into your home. It comes with a great reward, yet at a very great risk. You invite a spirit to play a little game with her, and you can bring your friends with you, but only one person can play at a time. The game shouldn't take more than a day, but if it does, it means you have already lost. So I looked at a few different sites for the bath game, and it almost seems pretty similar to the creepypasta hide and seek alone, where you kind of take a doll or some stuffed animal, just something that has stuffing in it, and replace it with rice and start it in the bathtub. So I don't know if it's the same story, just told in different ways, but I at least wanted to acknowledge hide and seek alone, just in case someone else brings it up. Next, we're covering Dudleytown. I'm almost certain that I've covered Dudleytown to some extent in previous episodes, especially with ghost towns, or I'm almost certain I covered it in my ghost towns episode. And it does truly deserve its own episode because it does keep coming up in my research for episodes in general. But this one is based on a real ghost town in my own home state of Connecticut. Dudleytown was founded way back in the 16 or 1700s. Part of the reason why I say that is because specifically for this episode, I was looking at urban legends. So when it comes to the legend side of things, different stories will tell you different things, but I think historically it did actually get found in the 1700s, but once I do my actual episode on Dudleytown, I will have the actual specifics then. Those living there apparently went crazy or went missing without a trace, and today it said you can hear strange noises from all around you when you go to visit. But here's the thing, I can't recommend that you go here because it is very well guarded. People are kind of very protective over that area, and last time I checked, there are police that kind of scope out that area, and there are a lot of no trespassing signs. So if you do choose to visit that area, like I said, I can't in good conscience tell you to go and check it out, but if you do, please see if there's a proper way that you can get onto the land, because I really don't want anybody to get into any trouble that they shouldn't. Next is the Watcher or the Watchers. I feel like, before I get into this one, I feel like a lot of legends have a certain amount of truth to it, or at least there's something in there that was true. At some point in history, it was very much true. And the Watchers is a legend that is absolutely no different. It really does have more truth than I think a lot of people tend to realize. This is another one that you could argue could get its own episode, which again I am considering on doing. But basically, a family moved into their dream home in New Jersey when they start receiving strange and creepy letters. Of course, a bunch of legends popped up surrounding this family's story. One even states that the Watcher was actually living in the walls or even the attic or a crawl space or something like that. I think there's a Netflix show just based on this story alone. And from what I when I initially looked into this whole Watchers story in general, not just for this episode, there were a few different sources that told you that the family actually made up the whole thing and no one was actually sending them these weird letters. But then another source told me that they supposedly still live there, at least as of 2018, and are still receiving creepy letters. But again, that was from when I initially looked into the story overall. So I don't know exactly what is true. And it's definitely interesting enough that I might look into it for its own episode. Next is Screaming Jenny. A poor woman named Jenny lived along the B&O Railroad in West Virginia. One night, she was making broth over a bonfire when a spark landed on her dress, and Jenny unfortunately caught on fire. She screamed and screamed for help as the fire grew, but before anyone could help her, a train tragically hit her. People today have claimed that you can still hear her screams near the tracks, and on the anniversary of her death, you can apparently see her ghost. Next is the Petrified Forest. Specifically, it's the Escalante Petrified Forest in Utah. And I'm almost certain that I covered this in my 50 haunted locations in the US episode. But for those of you who didn't listen to it, and in case I am wrong about the fact that I covered this, people believe that the Petrified Forest holds a dark curse. They believe that if you leave anything from the forest, you are cursed with bad luck until the day you die. I looked on a few different websites to see if there was anything that could give this legend any credence, but there was nothing that I could personally find. I couldn't find any specific, super tragic death or stories of, witches being hanged or anything like that. So I'm not entirely sure where this legend came from. Next is the Nalaba. Not entirely sure if I'm saying that right. But this legend originated in India. This is a spirit that is dressed up in a wedding dress and manipulates her way into people's homes. Once you let her in, though, you are done for, you're dead, there's nothing that you can do to stop it from coming. The only way to prevent her from coming to your home is to write her name on your door. And it's spelled Naalebaa. I will be posting a picture of her on my Instagram in case you guys are interested in seeing what she looks like. Next is Teke Teke. This is a Japanese legend that revolves around a young woman who was cut in half when a train hit her. It is said that her top half can be seen crawling around train stations in the evening. If you run into her, she will apparently cut you in half. Next is the Rat King. Like I said, a lot of urban legends have some sort of truth to them, at least to a certain extent, and this is an actual phenomenon that actually happens. Rats will, even in my notes I wrote, this one just straight up happens in real life. Rats will get their tails tangled together to form something called a rat king, and this is another one I might post a picture of it on Instagram. I'll make sure it's the second image because it made my skin crawl when I saw a photo of it. It's something for sure. So our penultimate legend that we're talking about today is called the Roommate. You might know this as a different name, but it's one of those urban legends that get passed around between friends as true, even as a friend of a friend told me type of tale. Basically, two college girls room together and one wants to go out to party while the other one wants to study the day before this big test. When the party girl comes back, her roommate is in bed, the lights are off. In the morning, when, there's light and the party girl, turns on the lights, she sees a note written on the wall in blood that reads, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?" And finally, Well to Hell. I feel like I've for sure covered this in the past, but I don't know if I covered it in this iteration of my podcast or my last iteration, but I definitely covered it in my last iteration. So if you've been around, if you've been with me since then, you probably remember this. But as the legend goes, a team of Russian scientists dug a hole in Serbia. One day, they ended up digging a little too deep, and it appeared that a fire was burning below. They decided to put a mic down the cavern only to hear the screams of the damned. If you search up the audio, it does very much sound like sounds from hell, but in fact, those are sounds used in a movie called Baron of Blood. And here's the thing, there was this really deep hole that was dug in Russia. I don't know if it was in Serbia, but it was definitely in that area of Russia. So again, it's not the fact that this is entirely false, but the story just got passed around so much that it was almost like a game of telephone sort of deal, you know? So those were 10 different urban legends that I found this time. The way it's looking right now, I might end up changing my upload date to Mondays instead of Saturday or Sunday, especially with how my schedule has been working out. But yeah, I might go back to these shorter episodes like this because, again, just going back to my whole like schedule type of deal. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys again probably next Monday. I'm not gonna lie, and by next Monday I will let you know if it's gonna stay the same, my upload schedule, or if it's changing. So yeah, like I said, I'll see you guys next week, and stay safe out there, y'all.